So Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals just wrapped up, as the Thunder defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves 118-103. And I gotta admit, I don't really have a dog in this fight, as my Lakers were eliminated in the first round. So as someone who isn't really choosing sides, I do have some takes on this, and I have to let you guys know, this is just my honest opinion, but I do expect to trigger some people with some of my thoughts from this game. And just so you know, I do know that Game 1 of the East Finals was much more exciting. Unfortunately, I just didn't have time to react last night, so I'm going to do a reaction to that one at the end of talking about the West Finals. Now, SGA had the quintessential MVP performance, as he dropped 38 points, 8 assists, and 3 steals. There's so many things to say about this Thunder team that's already been said many times before. Their defense is absolutely incredible, and they're really lacking nothing on offense, as they are a completely cohesive unit, and they seem confident, as if they firmly believe that they're the best team in the league at this point. Towards the end of the game, things did get a little bit chippy, as Jaden McDaniels did get extremely frustrated guarding SGA. When he shoved SGA to the ground, I think it spoke for how many people have been feeling. Timberwolves fans, you can back me up on this, but we all know that McDaniels tends to get a bit frustrated when guarding certain offensive players. Like he's always getting annoyed when Luka Doncic is constantly falling over his own feet and consistently getting foul calls. So with that in mind, I wasn't surprised at all to see him snap at SGA, who is basically the king of exaggerating contact and drawing fouls. I will say that as a viewer who has no dog in this fight, it is a bit annoying for me to see SGA getting so many ticky-tack foul calls when the rest of these playoffs have been completely defined by the excessive physicality. The biggest thing I want is consistency, and if someone like Nikola Jokic can't get a foul call to save his life despite the fact that he's constantly getting hacked, then I don't understand why SGA should. The refs gotta stop rewarding this kind of acting, because this is now coming from the reigning MVP, and if he uses this kind of acting to help him win games, then you can best believe that the rest of the league will follow suit. For goodness sake, LeBron James and Anthony Edwards were getting in a shoving match back and forth in the first round, and most of us were just saying that this was great playoff basketball with lots of intensity. But then SGA gets shoved and suddenly it's a flagrant foul? The inconsistency just makes no sense. With that being said, I'm trying to be as objective as possible, and I also recognize that the league MVP is incredibly skilled. So I do think part of that frustration from McDaniels was just the fact that he was getting schooled. Two things can be true at once, and on one hand, I can appreciate the talent and the transcendent skills of SGA, while recognizing that the NBA has a little bit of a problem on its hands in the sense that it's not being completely consistent with their foul calls. Now listen, I completely understand that people say the series doesn't officially begin until someone loses at home. But with that being said, OKC won these first 2 games in such commanding fashion, and they do have home court advantage throughout the series. The reality is, Minnesota has to win 4 out of the next 5 games against this team, and I simply don't see that being the case. OKC is my team that I think is going to end up winning the championship. And it's crazy that I'm saying that, because they're such a young team that's full of cornballs. Growing up, I always thought the teams that won the championship were the mean-spirited ones, the ones who got intense and had an attitude about themselves in the NBA playoffs, and usually they were older and more experienced teams. But the youthfulness of this OKC team is basically their identity, and the simple fact is, it's working, and I think it's going to keep working. It's simply a different NBA than the one I grew up watching. Now, as underwhelming as the West matchup has been, Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals was an absolute classic. It's nice to see that the New York and Indiana rivalry is still in full swing. And man, the animosity between these two fan bases is still very visceral. I see it all over social media, and you can just feel the energy coming from the arena. Tyrese Halliburton's reputation has been on a bit of a roller coaster of late, but he is now re-entering that conversation of superstar status. And that shot he hit was absolutely incredible, and it was an iconic one for sure. I gotta say, I can't remember a buzzer beater shot that had the entire stadium convinced that he missed it just for him to end up making it. It looked like the Pacers were completely out of this game and didn't have a chance. But man, they have got a fighting spirit to say the least, as they ended up winning the game 138 to 135. I will definitely be reacting to more games from this series because this one is set up to be an absolute classic, and I expect it to be a lot more exciting moving forward than what we're seeing in the Western Conference Finals. So now I want to hear your guys' honest opinions. What are your thoughts on the NBA refereeing throughout these playoffs? And do you prefer your games to have more or less physicality than what we've been seeing? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.